A group of students visited a factory yesterday to learn about the packaging process. In the factory, a container of powder was packed into 65 identical packets. Each packet contained 500 grams of powder. 160 grams of powder were left in the container after the packing. How many kilograms of powder were there in the container at first? Let's break down the question and understand it, shall we? In the factory, a container of powder was packed into 65 identical packets. There was an unknown amount of powder in a container. The powder was packed into 65 identical packets. Each packet contained 500 grams of powder. 160 grams of powder were left in the container after the packing. After packing all 65 packets of powder, there was still 160 grams of powder remaining in the container. How many kilograms of powder were there in the container at first? The question asks us to find the mass of powder in the container at first in kilograms. Do remember to leave your answer in the units of kilograms. Alright, now that we've understood the question, let's move on to solve this word problem. In the factory, a container of powder was packed into 65 identical packets, and each packet contained 500 grams of powder. Let's use a rectangle to represent the total mass of powder in the container. Let's divide this rectangle into two parts. One part of the diagram represents the total mass of powder that was packed into 65 packets. The other part represents the remaining 160 grams of powder left afterwards. Now, let's look at the part of the diagram representing the 65 packets of powder. Let's divide it further into 65 small parts. Each small part represents the mass of one packet. Since we know that each packet contained 500 grams of powder, let's label each small part as 500 grams. Can you see that the mass of 65 packets altogether is equal to 500 grams multiplied by 65? Can you also see that we can add the mass of 65 packets altogether to the remaining 160 grams to find the mass of powder in the container at first? Do you understand? Great! Let's move on to the next part. The mass of 65 packets altogether is equal to 500 grams multiplied by 65. This is equal to 32,500 grams. Now, let's add the two parts in the diagram to find the total mass of powder there was in the container at first. 32,500 grams plus 160 grams equals 32,660 grams. Do you recall that we were asked to leave our answer in units of kilograms? To convert grams to kilograms, we divide the number by 1,000. 32,660 divided by 1,000 is equal to 32.66. Hence, there was 32.66 kilograms of powder in the container at first. Let's move on to check our answers and ensure they are correct. From our answer, we know that there was 32.66 kilograms of powder at first. Let's multiply 65 packets of 0.5 kilograms each and see if we get a remainder of 160 grams. 0.5 kilograms multiplied by 65 is equal to 32.5 kilograms. In kilograms, the mass of powder left is equal to 32.66 kilograms minus 32.5 kilograms equals 0.16 kilograms. To convert kilograms to grams, we multiply the number by 1,000. 0.16 multiplied by 1,000 is equal to 160. Thus, 160 grams of powder were left in the container. This is consistent with the value given in the question. Therefore, we know our answer is correct.